Pojď mír dál zůstává s touto krajinou.
This is a film that we made 23 years ago in 1989, in November, December, in Czechoslovakia. I had got a job with the British Council in September 1989, and after being there for just a few weeks, the revolution broke out. It was a very exciting time. The students were very active. They were in the classrooms just as they had been before when they'd been having lessons, but this time the classrooms had been transformed into places where they were making posters, they were having meetings. They put together a student newspaper which came out almost every day, and we really wanted to try and capture the process of this in this film. So I hope you enjoy it. Olomouc is situated in northern Moravia, about 120 miles east of Prague. It has a population of 110,000 and is an important university city with a rich history. The town itself has a very conservative provincial feel to it. Its cobble streets and historic monuments give it a very attractive character. It was and still is a garrison town. As a result of what happened in 1968, there are now 20,000 Soviet troops here. However, by Monday the 20th of November last year, the whole university was on strike. On the Sunday before, a group of students had heard an eyewitness account of Prague and hurriedly organised an unprecedented meeting in front of one of the halls. It was very tense, very lively, and went on late into the night. They decided to strike. At the first mass meeting, the heads of the university tried in vain to persuade us to go back to school. There were 5,000 in the hall. There was a feeling of excitement and anticipation, a sense that something big was going to happen. We were aware of events in the GDR and even in Bulgaria, and felt anger at what had happened in Prague, despite still not having seen any pictures of the beatings. Some students got up and spoke in front of thousands of people for the first time in their lives. They showed confidence, determination, and an astounding lack of fear. Without any previous experience of real democratic participation, there was a problem of organisation. We didn't know what to do. We decided that we could only elect our strike committees in smaller groups in the halls of residence. Fortunately, our halls are divided by faculty. We were able to elect 5 representatives from each of the faculties. We were now on stage, and all of a sudden, the dean, the head of the party, the clerk of the faculty squirmed uncomfortably in the audience. Some of the members of staff not only supported our immediate demands for a full independent inquiry into the violence, but also for free speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and immediate coverage of our student strike. We supported the Prague students and actors' call for a general strike on the following Monday. Already, there was the demand for the deletion of the leading role of the Communist Party from the Constitution and the release of all political prisoners. Wednesday was the beginning of the occupation. We decided to occupy the philosophical faculty because this is where we had the most support and because it's most centrally placed. Also, if we stuck to one faculty, we could coordinate ourselves better. Information was a major problem. The media was full of lies, and what photocopiers there are registered with the authorities. We pleaded with students and friends to lend us typewriters, and people hammered out our demands and copied proclamations from Prague 20 hours a day. We were typing with up to 10 carbon papers. At this time, we were concentrating on reaching the workers, who we felt had a direct interest in the realisation of our demands, and without whose support, nothing would have been possible. The strike committee meets twice a day and makes all the important decisions. Each member is responsible for one aspect of the strike. Their last duty is at 11 p.m. when they report back to the mass of the students in the halls. Food is provided free of charge or at wholesale prices by local cooperatives and restaurants, sometimes without the management's permission. 2 hot meals are served every day, and the canteen is open round the clock, 24 hours, for tea, coffee, sandwiches and cakes brought in by sympathetic pensioners. One of the main problems people suffer from is lack of sleep. We have a medical centre, but it's difficult stopping people from pushing themselves too hard. Some people have been sleeping here almost every night for the last 3 weeks. Most people work till 2 a.m, but the kitchen, print shop, typing pool, the switchboard and the doorkeepers work all night. Very strict control is kept on who comes in and out of the building. An independent student newspaper comes out more or less every day. At the beginning, it was produced very primitively, but now it's produced professionally by local printers. We now produce about 5,000 copies, more than half of which go to local residents, who are still very badly informed by the local press. Most of our leaflets are still printed on silk screens. Some we were given by a samizdat publisher, others we made ourselves. The work is often boring, but the collective functions very well, maybe because they understand their responsibility and can touch the results of their work. Now that all our demands have been virtually met, the balance of our work has changed, and we're actively involved in producing leaflets for the Havel election campaign. We now produce a variety of materials which reflects the growing pluralism we were on strike for in the first place. All this within only 3 weeks.
The opposition consensus was that students were the only ones who could strike without damaging the economy. At least at the beginning, we collected a lot of money, with regular workplace collections and individual contributions. This ensured the smooth running of our whole apparatus. Most of our expenditure is with trips to neighbouring communities and travel to coordinate the strike committees nationwide. The opening of the border to Austria at the start of the 3rd week added an international dimension to our fundraising, which we hope to build on with further contacts abroad. It's the lack of hard currency that confines us to such primitive, time-consuming methods of working. From slogans such as "Support us," "Resign now," "Abolish the leading role of the Communist Party," and "Form independent trade unions in your workplaces," our posters have become more of a dialogue with the people of Olomouc. They're more humorous, more artistic, and often more complicated. Suggestions for posters come from students themselves, but they're always passed by the strike committee to prevent ourselves being discredited by provocative or divisive posters. During the occupation, there have been concerts by exiled and banned singers, photo and video exhibitions, and lectures by returned émigrés or those silenced since 1968. Part of our now redundant Institute of Marxism-Leninism has been turned into a library of previously unavailable literature. The latest of our major cultural events, or happenings, is the creation, in our university courtyard, of a museum of communist memorabilia, red stars, Stalinist street names, and slogans from factories and apartment blocks. As the public's become better informed, people have begun to lose the fear that's been affecting them for 20 years. Daily demonstrations have grown, and by the end of the 1st week of our strike, the Politburo was forced to resign.
Pravda zvítězí, pravda zvítězí, pravda zvítězí, pravda zvítězí, já vím.
As preparations for the general strike grew, students and workers from factory strike committees set up strike committees in more and more workplaces. People were no longer content with the resignation of individuals. They demanded a restructured society with free elections and democratic control over the workplace. there was almost total support for the 2-hour general strike on Monday the 27th of November. 4 days later, on Thursday, the leading role of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia was deleted from the constitution. But 3 days after that, a government was formed in which communists held 75% of the seats. Further demonstrations culminated at last in the formation of a government without a communist majority. This government is a temporary solution, but most people feel confident that it will lead to free elections later this year. It is now our task to create a democratic culture to reflect the political and social gains of our peaceful revolution.
Pevný je stůl, pevnější je hora. Co je nejpevnější, co je nejpevnější, ta člověčí víra. Co je nejpevnější, ta člověčí víra. Pustá je poušť i nebeské dálky. Co je nejpustější, žít život bez lásky. Co je nejpustější, žít život bez lásky. Mocná je zbraň, mocnější je právo. Co je nejmocnější, pravdomluvné slovo. Co je nejmocnější, pravdomluvné slovo. Velká je zem, šplouchá na ní voda. Co je však největší, ta lidská svoboda. Co je však největší, ta lidská svoboda.
You don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm.
After making the square with Stalin's statue suitable for our children to play in, we took a local initiative to build a democracy wall around the district Communist Party headquarters. This wall symbolized their isolation from the people and their clinging to power after their leading role had, at last, been removed.
All in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
Do it again.
All in all, you're just another brick in the wall.
And during the strike, I phoned up Billy Bragg. I knew Billy from 1986 when he came over to the German Democratic Republic and played at the Song Festival, and I interpreted for him in Leipzig the one night, and I thought it'd be really good if he came over to Czechoslovakia. So he said yes. His manager Peter Jenner came over in February, and then in the end Billy brought Michael Stipe from REM, Natalie Merchant from the 10,000 Maniacs, Cara Tivi and the Cole Porters with him, and it all coincided with the first free elections in Czechoslovakia on the 7th of June, which we took them all to, and they watched my friend Pepa Podstata voting for the first time in the elections. So it was a great way of ending the year.
Back experience is so long, but if you feel like I feel, baby, come on.
Is this going to sound loud, just a sort of loud yeah or something?
Is this working? Yes.
I'm entwined with my mingle and waving dark hair, with the roses so red and the lilies so fair, with the motto so bright with emerald hue, bare-handed leader and eyes of dark blue. I shall dance, I shall sing, and my heart shall begin. I shall charm every heart in each car I shall swing. But when I walk from my dream, they'll light us a clay. Fortune and love had all gone away. Well, he taught me to love and he called me his flower. That was blooming to still do last really hard. Oh, how I long to see him and regret that I got gone and forsaken his fair flower.
I will dance, I will sing, and my life. I will dance, I will sing, and my life will be gay.
I shall charm every heart in each crowd, I shall sway. But when I walk from my dream, there won't idols of clay. Fortune and love and heaven gone away.
The wildwood flower herself, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Natalie Merchant.
Wait, I will find.
Now, do you put it in the box?
Yeah.
Ať mír dál zůstává s touto krajinou. Zloba, závist, zášť, strach a svár, ty ať pominou, ať už pominou. Teď, když tvá ztracená vláda věcí tvých zpět se k tobě navrátí, lidé navrátí.
1, 2, 3. If you close the door, the night could last forever.